Hey, it's Nikki. Before we start the show, I wanted to invite you to download a free resource that I put together for you as the listener. This is my gift to you. You can get it right now. It is the 17 buying signals. Now, I wrote a whole book about buying signals, and I wanted to put it into a really simple format that you can have at your fingertips or in front of you whenever you want to. So I took out the 17 buying signals from the book, put them on a simple PDF, also gave you the kind of what to do when you get a buying signal, and explain what a buying signal is. So that PDF is available for you as a listener to go and download right now by going to yoursalesmaven.com/17. That's yoursalesmaven.com/17 so that you can start acting on these buying signals and closing more business. All right, when you're ready, let's start the show.
Are you ready to boost your confidence when selling so you're able to close more deals? Nikki Rausch will show you how to build a foundation of skills and a mindset that creates sales success without feeling pushy or salesy and without fear of rejection. She is a sales strategist and coach with more than 25 years of sales experience and is master certified in neuro-linguistic programming. This is a radically different approach to selling. It's a no sleaze, no slime, and no stress approach to building your business. This is Sales Maven. Here's Nikki.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to the Sales Maven Show. I'm your host, Nikki Rausch. I'm your own personal sales maven, here to offer you tips, strategies, and techniques to master your sales conversation. However, today is a special episode because it's our 100th episode. How did that even happen? I don't know. And with my team, we brainstormed all different kinds of ideas of what we would do to celebrate the 100th episode. And I ended up just doing what I wanted to do. They had great ideas, as my team always does. But I really just wanted to bring my team on and introduce them to you and share a little bit about how they contribute to the Sales Maven business. I get asked often, people will say, Nikki, how do you get so much done? How do you do so many things? And I always have to say, I don't. I have an amazing team. They do a lot of the heavy lifting for me so that I can do the things I really love, like the podcast and coaching with clients and delivering inside the Sales Maven Society. And they kind of do everything else. So we're going to talk to the team today so you get to know them, a little bit about who they are and what they do. And hopefully that will spur some ideas for you if you're wondering, who should I have on my team and what kind of things can they actually do for me? Every single team member, I have 3 people who work in my business every single week, and they're all 3 here. And every single one of them, I'm going to say that their role has evolved over time. So I'm going to introduce you in just a second to Kathy. Kathy Bliss is my online business manager. I originally hired her as an executive assistant, but she's just too good at too many things. And so we really quickly found that executive assistant was not, there's so much more to take advantage. So you'll hear a little bit from her and what she does. Also, Melissa Spindler is here. Melissa is my personal assistant. She also is our client retention manager for the Sales Maven Society. And she's kind of she's my everyday person. I think there isn't a day that I don't talk to Melissa on Voxer. And then Jayme Richardville is also here, which we don't actually have a title for you, Jayme. We're going to talk about this. Jayme does a lot of things. She was hired originally to do some SEO work in my business, and her role, I'm going to say, has evolved tremendously in the last little bit since she's been on the team. So welcome, ladies, to the podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to highlight you and all that you do and all that you contribute. I hope my team knows this, but if you as a listener, I love my team members, each one of them. I feel incredibly blessed to have them on my team. And frankly, I just want to do everything I can to make them want to stay and continue to contribute to the organization, because my business would not be where it is today without them. So we're going to dive in. We're also going to do some fun stuff at the end, because they collected some questions from people that wanted to ask questions. I think Melissa did all the collection of it and then passed them around to the group. But we asked inside the Sales Maven Society if there were any questions people ever wanted to ask me. So that's coming. We're going to do that at the end. So stick around for that. I haven't seen the questions. I have no idea what they are. So the team just gets to ask and we'll do kind of a rapid fire. We'll see if it's rapid fire, but I'll answer the questions. But first, let's talk to Kathy. Kathy, welcome.
Thank you.
Tell everybody a little bit like high level, and then we'll dig in a little bit deeper of what you do for Sales Maven.
Okay. So first of all, I have been working with you, Nikki, for close to 5 years already. And as your online business manager, some of the things I'm responsible for are like laying out and managing plans for your launches, offers, programs, anything that you create like for new revenue streams. I'm the person that lays it out and says, this is the tech stack we're going to use. And then I put it all together for the back end. I also update the membership site. So if you're a Sales Maven Society member, I'm the one who goes in and makes sure that that is updated. I also am the person that keeps in touch with the entire Sales Maven community via all the email marketing. And then something super fun that is kind of new to something we're doing is that I get to track all of the attribution and like conversions in ActiveCampaign. So we know if something that we're offering is super effective or if it's a dud. So I love that part of the job.
I'm so grateful for that.
So that's like the basics of what I do.
Yes. So for 5 or plus years, I'm terrible about celebrating anniversaries. So sorry to my team for that. So we were kind of all talking at the beginning, like, when did you start? Kathy, I feel like it's been more than 5 years, but you think it's been 5?
Yes. I think I started in 2016.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense.
Even. Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. 2016. And yeah, you just continue to evolve. Kathy was instrumental in, so many things, like you heard the stuff that she does. But like one of the big ones that we did a couple of years ago was moved my email list management service from one company to another. Kathy didn't know. I use ActiveCampaign now. Kathy didn't know ActiveCampaign, but she dug in deep, learned it. And now she can do these things where she's talking about attributing. Like she can provide me with a report when we send out an offer. We know, did people buy from email 1, 2, 3, 4, and then where did they originate from? And so she can give me that data, and that data is super helpful. And that's all because of her expertise that you have learned over the years for ActiveCampaign.
Yes. ActiveCampaign has totally changed the way that we market because it includes the CRM aspect, which the old email marketing did not. So now it makes it so much easier to see where people are in your customer journey.
Yes. You also are the person who creates the tags. So if you've ever heard me talk about, if you're a current client, I'm sure you've heard me talk about how important it is to tag your list and be able to, like, we can decide, based on tags, who sees certain promotions and who doesn't, what kind of, like, the Sales Maven Society almost always gets very different emails than people who aren't in the Sales Maven Society, because Sales Maven Society members almost always receive special pricing for any of the additional type offers. So Kathy has to set all of that up, and she has to be able to track who gets to see what email, which is super, super helpful because we couldn't really do that before.
Yes. And one of the other really cool things we can do in ActiveCampaign is even if I send an email, so for instance, we send a weekly sales tip.
Yeah.
People actually see different content based on whether they are a member or not, or if they've already purchased, for instance, like a masterclass, they won't see that offer in that email again, so that we don't inundate them with like, hey, buy this. when they've already bought something.
Yeah. 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 It's been incredible. I was just going to ask you a question and now it just left my head. What was it? Something about, there's a million things I think that you do. You also are the person who really interfaced with the team when we launched the new website this last year, like that you were instrumental in all of that and like figuring out what pages still needed to be active, what pages didn't need to be active. Kathy also sets up all of my Thrive cart. So Thrive cart is what we use for purchase, like for sales, right? So if something you want to sign up for something with me and it might have an order bump or it might have an upsell, Kathy sets all of that stuff up too. So pretty much anything that has to do with generating revenue, that's the tech behind it in the business, you touch.
Exactly. Yep. And we track it all. It's one of my favorite parts is to look at how people come in and then did they buy on email number 2 or 3? And did they push button number 1, 2, or 3 in that email? Love it. Super fun.
She's my tech. So like such a techie person. I'm so, so grateful. I just couldn't do it without you. I don't even know. And sometimes I'm like, Kathy, I'm just going to write an outline of something. Can you just like figure out how to make it the next 3 emails and then send them to me so that I can then tweak them? And she always says yes to me. I don't think you ever say no to me, Kathy.
Well, that is true. I am your yes girl for sure.
Actually, all 3 of you guys rarely say no to me about anything. And I'm so grateful. I'm like, can you just figure this out and then tell me what to do? I'm somebody who likes to be managed. I will say that. I like for people to be like, be here, do this, here's an idea, Nikki, and then I can say yes to that, no to that, or whatever. But yeah, I like to be managed and you manage me well. All right. I cannot think of what my question was, so I'm going to come back. Was there anything we haven't talked about when you think about your role?
Gosh.
Oh, I know. This is what I was going to ask. Sorry. What were you going to say?
No, I was thinking there was so many things we could talk about. We could talk about like for the next 2 weeks and not cover it all.
Yeah. She does a lot. That's the crux of it. Here's what I was going to ask, because I also get asked this a lot about the team. How many hours a week on average do you work in my business?
I'm at about 10 hours a week for you. Yeah. Sometimes it goes to about 12, but mostly I average 10 hours a week.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you start hearing about the contributions that each of these teams, the team members is what I'm trying to say, make to the business, all of them are, active in the business daily. So there isn't anybody who probably doesn't touch the business in some way every single day. I know, I can't think of, I'd be surprised if you guys will like, oh, I only work for you 2 days a week or, or whatever. It's just, I think every day there's something for you to do. Would you agree?
Definitely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. We're going to turn it over to Melissa. Melissa,
Nikki.
Tell everybody a little bit about your role and the things that you do.
Okay. So I've been working for you about 3 years as your assistant.
Yep.
That focuses on client retention. And that means I get to interact with the members quite a bit inside the Facebook group and answer any questions they may have over emails. And I get to help the members get scheduled for podcasts with you, make posts within the group, and hold networking calls to encourage connection among the members. And my favorite part of what I do is to look for ways to be thoughtful, to show the members how much they're truly appreciated by you.
So Melissa is I always say like, she's my person who helps pour love onto the clients. So she's the one who sends the cards, and she's the one who sends flowers, and she's the one who, sends gifts if that is appropriate to whatever we're doing. Sometimes she does this for me in my personal life too. She's just so good at it. She's always on top of it. And I feel like you're a lover. You love to love on people. You love on me all the time.
I love to do that too.
You do. She always sends me encouraging messages. She always knows if I'm having a bad day. You also manage my calendar.
I do.
Yeah. So Melissa is somebody who puts things on my calendar. I mean, Kathy has access to my calendar too, but you are probably the one who puts the most type of like, if there's something that needs to go on my calendar, you go and schedule it. Or if somebody needs to change an appointment, oftentimes you'll be the one that will help facilitate that. Or yeah. You also manage my email.
Yeah. I'm not doing as good of a job at that lately, but yeah.
I feel like I've been staying on top of it. When I get behind, she comes in and goes, "Hey, Nikki, 3 days ago, somebody asked you for something and you haven't responded." So you do manage it. I've been hopefully staying on top of it.
You've been doing a good job.
Yeah. Originally Melissa, I've been working with her for a while. She was doing, originally you were doing some social media posting for me.
Right.
And then I just love you so much. And so I got buried in 2018, like really buried in work, delivering work, and was falling so far behind on email, like actually missing people who wanted me to come on their podcast or people who wanted to hire me. I was like missing these because I just was so buried in work. And then when I reached out to you and I was like, is there any chance that you would want to work a little bit more and do a few of these things? And really, you saved me at the end of 2018, beginning of 2019. Like you saved me by coming in and helping to manage my calendar and my email.
Oh, well, it was a very easy yes. You're very wonderful to work for.
I promise I didn't make any of them say anything nice.
No.
Okay. And how many hours a week do you work in the business?
I would say I average about 20.
20. Yeah. Yeah. So she's constantly in the Facebook group, engaging with the members. Sometimes people ask me in the group, like, is that really you in the group? And the answer is yes. Melissa goes into the group separately. So she's engaging as her in the group and I engage as me in the group. I think early on we had certain things that you would go in and post and you would post them as me, but we don't even do that anymore. It's just like, if it's me posting in there, it truly is me posting. And one of the things that you mentioned this, but you started this recently was, and this was totally Melissa's idea, which I absolutely love, is she started a networking meeting for the Sales Maven Society members. She's like, what about having an opportunity where it's not me coaching, it's just them getting to get on a call together and truly network, because that community is amazing. And you've just taken that ball and run with it. And people are raving about the networking, which is fun.
And it's been, we've only had 2 calls so far, but they've been so nice. The members are just so wonderful, and they've loved, like there's already been connections made, and it's been really cool to see.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Okay, Jayme, you're up, friend.
Hello.
Tell everybody.
I'm Jayme, and
I'm so interested to hear what she's going to say about what she does. This could be a very long list.
I have no title, as you were saying.
I need to give you a title.
I don't even know what it would be at this point.
Either.
It's just kind of a jack of all trades, maybe.
Yeah.
But I've been on the team almost 1.5 years now, which is so crazy. When I started thinking about it, it's flown by like so fast.
I agree.
And so basically it started off, you hired me to do the SEO. So basically the on-page and off-page SEO. So like going through your old posts and, finding what keyword would be best, trying to get your, basically your scores a little bit higher so that people would see you and find you on page 1 of Google is kind of what I was doing, or what I still do at each week as you add new podcasts or anything like that, but still going into old posts and updating all of those and stuff like that. Which
you do very successfully, because you have gotten some of my stuff now ranks on Google page 1, which is amazing. Yes. Sometimes it's like, I'm like 1 or 2, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. You've got a couple of things that you are number 1 on page 1. And yeah, it changes all the time, but we have gotten you I've seen a lot of success, which I'm super excited about as well. Just kind of like how Kathy was saying, she loves to see those numbers and see those things. So I do the same thing where I'm like, oh man, we've gotten like this keyword on page 1 and this keyword. And so it's super fun and exciting to see.
Yeah.
We've done that. But then I started kind of taking over LinkedIn and trying to get that bulked up a little bit and just more of a presence on LinkedIn as well. Uploading all of your podcasts to YouTube so that anybody that might listen on YouTube instead, they have access to it there. Making the headliners in general. So those little 1-minute clips and things that you see on social media, I've been doing that. Making the stories for Instagram and Facebook sometimes, and even doing a few of the posts a couple days a week on there. And then now kind of doing some graphics here and there, graphic design type stuff, and updating some of the workbooks and keynotes as they come along.
Yeah. So if you've taken a masterclass from me in the last probably 8 months, that workbook, Jayme has made it look 1,000 times better. I designed all of my workbooks. I designed all my content originally. And then I found that Jayme has this incredible graphic skill set, and she's willing to redesign my workbooks. So the workbooks that I think now look more professional, are more elevated. That's the work that you're doing. I'm so grateful.
It's a lot of fun. I really, really, really enjoy it.
You're so good at it. And you also create graphics for the team when we need things. Right before we started this call, Kathy was working on a sales page for something. And I didn't even know this, but reached out to you and said, hey, can you create a graphic for me? Which you then did, because she sent it to me and I was like, where'd she get that cool graphic? Jayme created it. So I love it. I feel like there's other things that you do that maybe you haven't mentioned, but like the whole SEO thing has been a game changer. When people ask me like, what's one thing you wish you had done in your business earlier, I always say, I wish I had hired somebody to do SEO for me, because I didn't really understand how SEO can impact this idea of how you move up on. It's not that I don't get it, but I just didn't have any concept of how it can help the business. One of the other things you do is you help me oftentimes come up with the title for the podcast episodes based on SEO. Because a lot of times if I name it, it's going to have 0 search results. If Jayme names it, there's a chance that somebody is going to search for it and find it.
Yes,
it won't be
keyword
from me.
research.
Yeah.
Yes, keyword research is definitely key to doing titles and things. Yes.
Yeah. And how many hours a week are you working in the business?
Right now, I'm at 15 hours a week.
Yeah. Yeah. So you see, between the three of them, I have a pretty robust team that's doing a lot in the business that makes the business move forward. This is not, even though I think sometimes people think I'm a solopreneur, and I guess technically none of you are employees of the business yet. Kathy's laughing because I'm always like, okay, Kathy, come on. Like, what's it going to take? That truly they're contributing significantly to Sales Maven and how things happen and how things get done. So thank you all for that. All right.
Can I speak up for a second?
Please.
And just tell you how grateful I am to be working with you, because you are so heart-centered and truly care about your clients and us as a team, that working for you is just so easy. So I am super grateful for the opportunity.
Thank you. That makes my heart
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
I second that.
Aww,
Me too. Third.
you guys. I love you. I love each one of you so much. I'm so grateful. And as a team, I feel like, here's a thing. I think people would probably be surprised. None of us have ever met in person yet.
Right.
So when you look at Kathy's been on the team for 5 years, Melissa's been on the team for 3 years, Jayme's been on the team for 1.5 years, and we've never met in person. My goal is to change that in 2022. As a matter of fact, we talked about this in the team meeting yesterday. I have this goal of getting all 4 of us in a room together, many rooms together, to do something fun as a team, but to actually like get to hug you, to actually get to like be in the room and like see your face that's not just on camera. And the majority of the time we work together over Voxer. Each one of you, I primarily communicate with you over Voxer. Kathy and I get on a call together, like live. How often do you think that even happens, Kathy? Once a month, maybe?
Yeah, I was going to say maybe once a month.
Yeah. Melissa and I see each other on Sales Maven Society stuff because she comes to the live calls, most of them. Right.
Right.
But otherwise, you and I rarely, and yeah, I talk to you the most of anybody over Voxer.
Because I just blow up your Voxer every day with
Same.
Yes.
You always have good ideas. You had a really good one for me this afternoon too. And I was like, okay, table that because it's such a good idea. And I'm super busy right now. So table that idea. You're one of the idea people on the team for sure. And Jayme and I Voxer, like, I feel like weird times of day, sometimes throughout the day, but it's often like when you're working. So sometimes that's later at night. Sometimes it's weekends, right?
It is. Yes. I have such a weird schedule between my husband's crazy schedule and then the newborn. I definitely don't have any type of set schedule these days.
Yeah. So Jayme is, so I always laugh because she has to prompt me to do things like, Nikki, have you done anything in your life that's not work related that we could talk about on social media? And I'm always like, no. So then she has to prompt me like, what about this? What about that? Because I'm like, I'm the most uninteresting person in the world. So yeah, I'm grateful for that. And the newborn, which has been fun for us as a team, I think, to get to be on that journey with you a little bit too. The baby.
Definitely.
It is a lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's kind of it as far as the team and what their roles are. Oftentimes people will ask me if they can hire my teammates. And let's go and say whether or not that's true. Can people hire you, Kathy, outside of Sales Maven?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Kathy's very selective on who she takes on as a client, and her clients stay for a long time. That was one of the things I was super excited about when I hired Kathy. I think at that time, it was like the person that you'd had for the shortest amount of time was like 5 years or something.
Well, actually, it's since I've been with you for 5 years now, I have been with her almost 14 years.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So every once in a while, people do hire you to do different projects, sometimes for project related stuff. And then sometimes actually you do have a opening in your schedule to take on another client as a online business manager for them.
That's correct.
Yeah. And I happily refer her to people, even though I want her to just work for me, but I happily refer her because she's amazing. Melissa, people often want to hire you too. Are you available for hire?
No, just all Nikki all the time.
I feel really grateful for that too. But I know you get asked a lot. People are like, can you help me? Can you do this? And you always have to say like, no, thanks.
No, I'll help out our other friend, Nikki Klosser sometimes. But
yes. That's actually how we got connected. Was we have a mutual friend, Nikki Klosser. She's the one that introduced me to Melissa. She also introduced me to Jayme.
Oh, really? I don't think I realized that.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No.
Yes. I'm so grateful for Nikki because really 2 out of the 3 people on my team came directly from her recommendation. She knows the best people. Kathy also was referred to me by a good friend who you were doing work for her mom. Is that right, Kathy?
That is correct. As a matter of fact, I still work for her mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Her mom is supposed to retire, but hasn't yet.
Nobody lets Kathy go once they have her. We're going to keep her forever. I just am waiting for all of her clients to retire, and then I get her hopefully full time at some point. But okay. What did I just ask you? Oh, Jayme, are you for hire?
I would say no, because I'm kind of in the same boat. If I had more hours, I'd probably just give them to you. But I am very happy to answer any questions that anybody in the society might have if they're trying to take on their SEO by themselves or anything like that, because it can be tricky, but a lot of it is very easy if you just have somebody kind of talk you through it. So I am very happy if somebody just shoots me an email or reaches out to me on social, or even just on the Sales Maven like Instagram page or anything. And if I can just answer a quick question, I'm very happy to do that. But to take on another account at this time, I don't know if I could find the hours for it.
So if you're wondering, there's your answer, because I get asked this, and I think my team members get asked quite frequently. People want to know if they can hire you. Okay. All right. So now let's move into the question part. Melissa, do you want to start?
Yes, I do. Okay. So this question came in from the Sales Maven Society, and they asked, what would you tell the Nikki who just started out in sales to never change or compromise?
Oh my gosh, that's a good question. Never change or compromise. I would never change your, like what feels authentic to you. So I often tell people it's super important to embrace that part of you that feels really like kind of how you are. So for me, it's about building relationships and it's about rapport. And that really is how I built my business. I had a client years ago who used to say, I'm so awkward, Nikki. I'm so awkward. And I was like, great, let's make that work for you in the sales conversation. Like you can be awkward, because awkward sometimes is very charming. And we actually did kind of work on how could she still show up as her. I wouldn't have called her awkward, but she was somebody who, when I coached her, she refused to have her camera on. So she wanted my camera on. She wanted to see me, but she wouldn't have her camera on because she felt uncomfortable with that. So I'll embrace that. I'll coach her however she wants to be coached, but we figured out how to be awkward. So whatever makes you can still learn to sell successfully without trying to be like somebody else. What was the second part of the question? I can never do rapid fire questions, I don't think.
No, I think that was it, because it was just, would you never change or compromise?
Yeah. So. Compromise your integrity. Like, no, don't. It's not worth it. It's not worth it to get a deal. I actually was just recording a podcast episode about this. I don't think you should ever compromise pushing and being aggressive with somebody that they should hire you either. I think that does compromise your integrity. All right. Jayme, do you have a question?
I actually have the next one.
Oh, Kathy does. Are these in order? You guys tell me. I'll let you do it then. You tell me who's got the next question.
Okay, this is another one from Facebook.
Okay.
What's your biggest, hairiest dream?
Oh, gosh. Biggest, hairiest dream. I have like 3 answers going through my head, but I'm going to say the thing that made me catch my breath when you asked that is I would love, I think, biggest, hairiest dream. I think I would love to do a live, like, obviously it would be recorded, but in front of a huge audience, do something that would be something that people could replay for years and years. So like Brene Brown did her, I think it was The Daring Greatly on Netflix. That would be my big, hairiest dream. However, the piece that like makes me catch my breath is there would have to be funny in it. Like I would want people to laugh a lot. during my thing. Because I love when I get laughter from clients, and specifically when I'm speaking in a room, when the whole room laughs together, that is like, it gives me chills. It actually it catches my breath in my lungs. Yeah. Nothing's better than having the whole room laugh at something that I've said. Okay. Who's next?
I'm next.
Okay.
What is one of your favorite fluffy non-business books that you have read lately?
Fluffy non-business books. Oh my gosh. So I'm reading this series right now that my brother turned me on to. So I actually love to read for fun, and I read a lot of trashy stuff because that's what I like. Not that this is trashy, but it's called A Court of, let me see, what is it called? A Court of Thorns and Roses. And it's 4 books. Anyway, my brother is on my Kindle. He reads the books. And so every once in a while he'll buy a book and it'll show up on my Kindle. So that's what I'm reading right now. It's super entertaining. It's all it's got magic. It's got fairies. It's got all kinds of crazy, violent stuff, but also love story, lots of relationship stuff, dynamics. I love all that.
Love it.
Yeah. Sounds fun.
I'm people really want to know this? Okay.
Okay. What do you like to do when you are not inspiring us all to have better sales conversations?
I feel like I say this a lot. My favorite thing to do right now is to walk along the river in the town that I live in. There's the Boise River and it has a green belt. It's 27 miles. I don't walk 27 miles. However, I do go and walk along the river and it brings me, it fills my cup. That's what I'll say. So that is stuff you will see on my stories on Instagram because I will take pictures because the coolest things happen. There was just the other day, I didn't get a picture of this, but my husband and I were walking along the river and there were 4 deer that just jumped out in front of us and then stood there. And it was just so amazing that you're walking along and it's beautiful and you hear the sound of the river and the rocks and the water going over the rocks. It's just my favorite thing in the world. The other thing that happened that I wouldn't have gotten a picture of it, but I thought was really funny is we walk along this path and I was walking along this path and this squirrel confronted me. I'm not even joking. This squirrel came running right up to me and I had to step off the path. I was oh, excuse me. It was get out of my way, lady. It was so aggressive. Anyway, that was my fun squirrel story. Okay. Are there more?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Ooh. I always say I'm a middle of the day person. I don't like to get up super, super early. But I usually start my day. Well, it kind of depends. I get up anywhere between 6 and 7, typically in the morning. And I am my best between 9 and 10. I will say not 9 and 10, 9 and 2. That's my sweet spot between 9 and 2. I'm really on. That's actually not that I want anybody to feel disappointed, but that's the best time to book your sessions with me because my brain is firing. I'm wide awake. I'm not starting to feel fatigue from the day. I just feel that's my sweet, those are my sweet hours. And then get me after about 5 and my brain starts to get slow and, it just kind of doesn't get any better after that. Middle of the day is the answer.
I like it.
Another one.
What is your biggest pet peeve? Not in sales, but just in general.
Oh, bullies. Really. I really don't like bullies. I feel very annoyed when people bully other people for any reason. So bullies, I get I'll get on a soapbox about it.
That's a good
one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I already know the answer to this one, but do you have pets? And if so, what are their names and what types of pets?
Okay, this is where I'll lose people. Like, this is where people like, I thought I liked her and now I don't. I do not have pets. I will say, see, Melissa even made a face because Melissa has a cat that she loves like crazy. And I can appreciate that people love their pets. I just am not a pet person. I will say I am a people person. I love people. I love babies. I love kids. I love teenagers. I love just regular adults. I love old people. I just love people. That's my like thing. So yeah. So I always get the questions. People are like, oh, do you have kids? No, I don't have kids. Oh, do you have pets? No pets. And then they're like, no point in talking to this chick. She's so uninteresting.
You should get you like an ant farm or something.
So I can say, I love plants. Does that count at all? Jayme and I have connected on plants.
Yes, it does.
Plants
Jayme,
count for sure.
Melissa's like, no. She's shaking her head like, no, it doesn't count. But I love Melissa's girls. Melissa's girls leave me Voxer messages and they talk to me on Voxer every once in a while. They make my heart happy.
They love you.
I love them.
So cute.
Okay.
I have another question for you. And that is, what other jobs have you had and what was your least favorite?
So let's see, what have been my jobs? Well, my very first like official job, and I lasted one day, was picking strawberries in a field here in Idaho. That's horrible. Don't recommend it for anybody. No better reason for me to stay in school than to not have to go and pick strawberries for a whole day. That like, I didn't even make, I probably made like less than $20. It was horrible. I put myself through college working for an endodontist, which is a root canal specialist. And I worked in their front office. Didn't mind the job. The office manager hated me. So not a great experience. I don't know why she hated me, but man, she hated me. And then my first sales commission job, I've probably talked about this on podcast episodes before, is I got a job when I first moved to Washington. It was right before the holiday season. And they would put those like kiosks in the mall, like those like pop-up kiosks that were just there during the holidays. And I started selling leather goods, like purses and belts and wallets and bags. And it was the very first time I was making minimum wage and they paid commission. Like if you were, let's say you had a 5-hour shift, you had to sell X number of dollars worth of product. And then once you sold over that amount, you made commission. And that's when I really got a taste for sales in particular and commission, because I was doubling and sometimes tripling my hourly wage. And I was like, oh my gosh, I could get rich doing this. You know, I think I was making like at my best, it was like $15 an hour or something, which is probably what minimum wage is now. I don't know. But yeah, so that, and then, and then after that, I was in the tech space. Did I say, I guess the worst job was picking strawberries. Yeah.
That was a bad day.
It was a bad day. And I have a lot of admiration for people who pick fruit, especially fruit that's like grown like on the ground.
Yeah.
Hard work. Thank you. Thank you for anybody who does that.
That was my question. Or the next question I had to ask you was, what was your first job? So you answered that.
Sorry.
So, Melissa, no, don't be sorry.
Okay.
I think I have a good, maybe final question.
Okay.
What is the best compliment you've ever received?
So I love compliments. Like I really love compliments. I'm very externally focused when it comes to my performance and my work. So that means I look for other people to tell me how I'm doing. Now I have to think of what her name is. I might have to go and look it up. I gave this talk, like my signature talk, to a group of engineers. And this is who it is. Okay. This engineer came up to me afterwards in my talk and he was like, you are really funny, which is probably my best compliment. Like that's my favorite compliment, is when somebody says I'm funny, because I do have this secret, like, I wish I was funny enough to be a comedian. I'm not joking. Like, I just love the idea of making people laugh. And I don't think I'm particularly funny, but I like when people think I'm funny. So he came up and he was like, you are very funny. You are like the Amy Schumer of sales.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh my gosh, that might be the best compliment I've ever gotten.
That's a good one.
It was a good one because she is funny. She's a little raunchy. I'm not usually raunchy, but
you are funny though. I would agree that I think you're funny.
I like that you think I'm funny. All right. So that's the questions.
Yes.
All right. What can I ask you guys? What's the best compliment you've ever received? Would you guys be willing to share? I didn't tell you I was going to do this, so I know I'm putting you on the spot. Who's got one?
I think when people compliment me as my job as a mom, like I think that means the most to me for sure.
Yeah, you are a good mom. You're a great mom.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to agree with Melissa. That was the very first thing that popped into my head was when my kids say something nice to me, like, oh, when they're super appreciative and they compliment, like, oh, because I was the mom that always drove kids to concerts. And my kids would always be like, we are so lucky. Thank you. So that I love when they're like, you're cool. That's a good compliment to me.
You're the cool mom.
That is a good one.
You are the cool mom, Kathy. I know just from like some of the stuff I've seen you post over the years on Facebook with the girls and the stuff that you've done with them. You are the cool mom. I love that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
How about you, Jayme?
It's kind of along the same lines. Like, I think how we were talking the other day that I'm just a people pleaser to a fault. So I would say any compliment is like the best compliment because that's like what I live for. But I take a lot of pride in like things that I do. So like if I've been working really hard on something and somebody like notices or something, like with anything, honestly, if I get complimented on that, like whatever task I've been working on, I would say that's probably, so it probably differs for me all the time, I guess, if that makes sense.
But just so that's like recognition, right? Like having your efforts recognized. I get that. Yeah. I used to always say, well, I still say this and I believe this, that salespeople, like if you really want a good salesperson, if you're going to hire somebody to do sales for you, they need to either be motivated by money or recognition. And when you can get somebody who's kind of like has both of those things as things that are motivators for them, you've probably got a pretty good sales rep. But you got to make sure that you're paying them money. There's ways for them to continue to earn more. And you have to acknowledge often the work and contribution that they make. So I love that that's yours. All right. So as we wrap up, anything anybody wants to share, anything we didn't talk about that you think we should talk about that people would be interested to know about the Sales Maven team?
Just congratulations on 100 episodes.
Yes.
Thank you. Can you guys believe 100 episodes?
No.
Crazy.
It feels quick.
Like talking about starting it.
Yeah. We launched this in March of 2020. So right as everything was shutting down, launched the podcast. And people were like, is this the right time to launch a podcast? Like, who's going to be paying attention? And thankfully, people do pay attention. I'm going to say about the podcast, because now I want to say one of my favorite things to hear from people on the podcast, listeners of the podcast, is when they tell me that like I get to go on walks with them. Like, oh, Nikki, I listened to you on my walk, or I listen to you when I'm folding laundry, or any of that, like where I feel like I get to participate in some way in what they're doing in their life. I wish the calories would count towards me too for the walk. Like, I feel like that would be fair. Even if I only got like a quarter of the calorie, like, that would be super awesome. But I am so, so honored when somebody's like, I take you on my walk. I'm like, wow, thank you. Thank you for that.
I think you go on a lot of car rides too.
Car rides? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm a good passenger, by the way, because even if it was just you and me in the car, like I would be talking. I would have like conversation to stay hopefully engaged and keep you awake. Although I can kind of sometimes want to fall asleep in car rides, but usually I want to talk. Like I want to engage, or we could sing really loud songs together. That would be fun too.
Oh, we should totally do that right now. Close out the call with us all singing.
Thanks, Melissa.
Really, no pressure. You know what people have started singing to me, which was from a podcast that I did, an episode. I think it was the podcast with Peggy McKnight where I did an on-air coaching call with her. And I don't even know, I have to go back and listen to this episode. I don't even know why I brought up that my mom used to sing the song. And nobody likes me. Everybody hates me. I think I'll go eat worms. I have gotten such feedback from that. People are like, that is a song. I know the song.
It is.
Yeah. Somebody sent me the second verse, and then somebody else sent me a link to like the whole song. I think it was on YouTube. I just thought my mom like made that song up, which kind of gave me a little bit of a complex. Like, thanks a lot, Mom, for teaching me this song, like not to feel sorry for myself. Yeah. So I might've misunderstood the context, but that makes me laugh that people sing that song to me now. So
yeah, I didn't even know there were more than one verse. I remember when I was listening to that podcast, I had to stop and Voxer you. And I was like, I know the worm song.
I think, well, you were probably the first person to send it to me because you get to hear the podcast before it goes live for anybody else. Yeah. So yeah, I remember I was like, oh, Melissa knows this song. And then, yeah, I've gotten so many responses to the sing. So yes, I'm not going to sing out the end of this episode. I wouldn't even know what song to sing. Although I will say, here's my song that I have sang to the little kids in my life over the years is I'll sing to them, "You Are My Sunshine," but then I insert their name into it. Mm-hmm. So like my niece Cadence, and actually her parents still sing her. She's now like teenager, but that's like their song for her. "You Are My Cadence, my only Cadence." That's been my song that I always sing to little ones. "You Are My Sunshine." And then I put their name in it.
Love
All right,
that.
probably more than you guys wanted to know. All right. We're going to wrap up the episode. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Melissa. And thank you, Jayme, for saying yes to being here, to asking questions. Hopefully those were fun, but more importantly, to really get an idea of how the Sales Maven team works, the types of things that they do. They all are in the Sales Maven Society. So you can tag them, let them know something that you liked about the podcast or something you appreciate about the work that they do for the group. Please do that. Say nice things to them because, you know, some of them are like me and they like a compliment. So please give them a nice compliment for all that they contribute. And I'm just so grateful. I'm grateful for you as the listener. I'm grateful for my team. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Take care.
Bye.
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 Thanks for listening to Sales Maven. Visit us online at yoursalesmaven.com/maven for more resources to boost your confidence and skills.